powerful woman in politics and governance. Okay? All right. So let's go. Leadership. I like having interactive sessions when I'm speaking. So I'm going to I don't know if we have a second microphone somewhere that we can throw to the audience. Yeah? All right. Thanks, Rookie. I bet people should hail Rookie that he wore all pink today in alignment with the theme. So we're going to pass the mic around. I want us, two people, who can tell me what they understand by leadership. If you not raise your hand, I go call you based on the color of your hair. So the louder the color of your hair, the rest assured that I will point at you. So who can tell me what you understand by leadership? Auntie, one. You can get up. Stand up. There's a lady at the back with the... Yes, stand up. Another person. I want one more person. Raise your hand with confidence. This is where it starts from. Raise it with your full chest. She even stood already. Oh, yeah. Two of you should come forward. Or we can take... Okay, come forward real quick. Clap. Encourage them as they are coming. This one means raising her hand. Even like saying I preach, they come preach. Oh. Just come and tell me what leadership means. So yeah. You will give me your name, what you do, and then tell me what you understand by leadership.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chibogu Augusta Ooma. I'm a student of Delta State University of Science and Technology, Ozoro. For me, what leadership means is when you are in a position to take those under you to the next level, when you carry them along and you make sure they succeed just like you. Thank you.
A round of applause. I like what she said. Position. Note that word. Position is very important. Go ahead.
Una good afternoon.
Hey!
Una good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My people, my people.
My mama.
Leadership, when they talk, now two leadership though. One, when they say person a leader, everybody went there under her. Not be they go lawyer for her. Then you might be leader. You call yourself, say you be leader. We don't agree for you, say you be leader. Not be you go carry us along. Not be when good thing come, you go write our name for the good thing. Leader. Person when they lead, other people they follow around. Not be leader. So what I want to try talk now, if you be leader, you go humble yourself. Not be so. So leadership means say, if you be leader, now you be our eye. Now you be everything. Not be when you write our name, tomorrow when we come, our name not there again. That time, when we don't lawyer for you, when you write our name, we can't go as about we not see our name. You see be leader.
Worry not the carry last. Where you they go, mama? Oh, introduce yourself, please. Introduce yourself quickly. Let's move on.
My name na Voke, V-O-K-E. Voke Omonigo from Ugele Nobo. From Ugele Nobo. Ugele North. Now I come from. Thank you very much.
A round of applause. Oh my God. Okay. Voke don't take everything when I want to talk come off of my mouth. But she talk at me in Ugeli Nobo way. So make I talk at me in Queen's English. So leadership, like they have both said, are you listening? Is a few things. One, it's influence. Hello? It is influence. To understand the true nature of leadership, You must be able to move things or in whatever form, people or whatever it is that you are in charge of from point A to point B. If you are unable to influence the people that have been handed to you, you haven't started as a leader. And then what does it take to be influential? Is not raising your shoulder to the sky or being arrogant or being pompous about it. Influence sometimes is in exemplary form. So they do as you do. Do you understand me? They do as you do. Now, if you are a woman in leadership and the way they do get K-leg, we already have a problem. But I say this stuff, you can wait for us. We already have a problem because guess what? All the other people that are following you behind, as long as your own leadership gets K-leg, be rest assured that the people following you too. The guarantee of success, if you are not careful in how you influence those coming with you, will be limited. So in leadership, as a woman, I want to speak to women now because this is what this program is about. A woman in politics and governance, you must be very sensitive about the way you show yourself through your example. You cannot lead anyone with bad character. Do you understand? So 1, leadership is influence. 2, leadership is about driving positive change. You must be able to make sure that the thing you're changing in your sector, in your small community, whether it's in your household, among your siblings, in your local government, whatever it is moving things to the better. It's not a leadership that after many years, in whatever position you find yourself, when I come to the place that you say you are leading, is worse than you even met it. And that's the kind of leadership we see a lot around us these days. Where we have people who are in certain cadres, but when you go and you see what they are doing, they make things worse off. That's not leadership. As a leader, and I'm speaking to us again as women, Uncle Kingsley was talking about women having the natural ability to nurture, right? And bring things. I always believe, and I say to myself, already, you are an incubator as a woman. You cannot give me already something and don't expect me to turn it to something better. It's impossible. So have that at the back of your mind. As a woman, you have the natural ability to make things better. Now take that into leadership. So whatever you lead, whatever you are driving, whatever you are trying to move, you ensure that you are making a positive change, not negative. Because that's where we miss it a lot. Marilyn was talking about it. When they now come and say, now woman they here before, see the mess when she make, you hinder the possibilities of other people. So always make sure that you have and make positive change. Thirdly, leadership is about you being able to inspire. All right? You must be able to inspire. What does that mean? I must look at you, or I should be able to look at you as my leader and feel, I want to be like that. Not necessarily like that, because not follow anybody footstep. Do your own. But whatever you are doing as a leader should propel the next person to want to do better. Do you understand? Should propel the next person to want to do better. And this is where I think that we have a conversation around women to women, and we say women don't help other women. I don't agree. To an extent, yes, but I don't agree. There are so many women who are sitting in this room today that if they didn't do what they did, I or they will probably not be standing here where I am. So as a woman, as a female leader, you must be able to say, what I'm doing, how does it help inspire those who are watching me to also want to do better? Do you understand? So character is important. Your posture is important. How you carry yourself is important. Where you carry yourself to and where you don't carry yourself to is also important. Because guess what? People are watching. People are what? Watching. You might think that, oh, I'm still young. Make I just do as I like. When I reach 30, I go straight. It's a lie. What you do at age 12 has a very strange way of influencing who and what you become at age 30. And I like the fact that we're all young in this room today. So we are moving forward. So you must be able to what? Inspire. Now, being a female leader has plenty barriers. Hello? It has a lot of barriers. And I don't want to go into the full English. But as women, we face a lot of challenges, right? There's first of all the societal one, where they say, you be woman, you no fit do am. Then there's the barriers and constraints that comes from, like she was talking about, family life sometimes, raising children, being in a home, being a wife, being a mother, whatever it is. And then there are certain barriers that also come from you not being experienced enough or having the necessary skills enough to occupy certain positions or to be in certain leadership positions. But then there's also the barrier that society has created for us, particularly women in politics. I got into politics not too long ago. I think at the time I was 33 or 32 or thereabout. And I still heard that at 32, with 2 full-grown children, I never rich. So I asked them, if this was a guy who was the same age as I was and still had these 2 children, are you going to ask him that he's too young to do the thing that he wants to do? The answer is no. The answer is no. I had people who sat me down and said, you know, you still have time ahead of you in the political world. Me, I'm already 50. Make I just go. May you wait. Na lie, oh. My head is very, very strong. So I said, bros, no wahala. You're almost closer to heaven. How about you rest? Let me, that I still have time, go so that I will have time to do plenty work. But there's a lot of stereotypes that comes with being young, being a woman, and then being in politics. But I hope that when we leave here today, we would learn a few things that would help us break those stereotypes. Now, how do we deal with these barriers? How do we empower ourselves as women, particularly in politics and governance? You must continue to develop yourself. You must continue to learn. Learning is not primary 1 to 6, SS1 to 3, university, master's, PhD. No. As a matter of fact, every book when I read for school did not prepare me for this position that I'm in. Every book, I can tell you for free, there's nothing my teacher has taught me. Not me saying you not go to school. Nothing prepared me for what I'm doing right now and the experiences that I face today. Nothing prepared me for working with civil servants, no offense. Nothing prepared me for being in a room as a young woman that had hundreds of men, and I look around and I'm the only woman. Nothing prepared me for backlashes. Nothing prepared me for stereotypes. Nothing prepared me. So it's not just formal education, but you must always find ways to continue to learn, particularly from things that you experience in your environment. I'm only able to do what I do today because over 18 years ago, about 17 years ago, I started a small organization that empowered women with breast cancer. And over that time, I learned what it meant to deal with women in rural communities. I learned what it meant to stand in front of people and speak boldly. I learned what it meant to look men in the eye and say, if you can be here, I can be here too. I learned what it meant to wear trousers and slippers and walk in villages and malls and whatever. I learned from my experiences. And I'm still learning because it doesn't stop. But we find that women, after a while, we just chill. I beg, I don't tire, I don't try. No, you never try. I don't think there's any man that leaves a particular office and then goes and sits down and say, I'm tired, I don't want to aspire for the next level. You hardly see that. But with us women, once we get to a particular cadre, we sit down and say, we are tired. You must always learn to improve yourself, empower yourself. You can take courses. I don't know how many of us are still in school here. You can take courses, you can join leadership skills, whatever you have to do to make sure. Because guess one thing that I heard a lot when I came into politics, you don't have enough skills and experience. So I said, okay, no problem. I'm going to go back. I'm going to get the skills and experience I need. Then I'm going to come back. And then you cannot tell me that I'm not well equipped for the office. So you must always empower yourself and continue learning. Secondly, you must embrace confidence. You see how Auntie Shimite came here? And she spoke with so much confidence. Women shy away from being in the spotlight in any or most gatherings. We need to learn to embrace who we are and be confident about who we are. And that starts with first. I remember the first speaker talking about, do you even know who you are as a woman? Do you know what you carry? Do you know what you are capable of as a woman? So you must have confidence in not just what you think you can do, but who you are as a person. So that no matter what anybody says, no matter what they bring to the table, particularly in politics, no matter what they throw at you, you are rest assured that this is who I am, and I am not shaking for any reason. So self-confidence is important. Embracing who you are is very important. Thirdly, we have to learn to build strong networks. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this because Anshimite Love already did. So strong networks. You can't do this thing on your own. We've heard that earlier today, right? You can't do it on your own. Miracle here did this summit. She had a lot of support from her fellow colleagues. She had a lot of support from her peers. She called on a lot of people to make sure that it happens. But when they call on you, women, particularly those who have gone ahead, I beg you, answer. Answer. Because one of the things that we hear a lot of young people say is, oh, but we reach out for help and we don't get responses. But I also asked them, how did you approach your reaching out for help? Were you bombarding with endless messages? You know what I mean? Were you friendly to the person that you're reaching out for help for? But anyways, you have to learn to put yourself in a support network and system that ensures that as a woman, you are empowered. You also have to lead with authenticity. I cannot do what Miracle is doing. Miracle cannot do what I am doing. Everybody has their journey. Stick to yours. As much as we are in the same space, she's dealing with female youths. I'm dealing with female youths, girl child, whatever it is. But there's something unique about you as a human being that the next person, even if they tried, cannot replicate 100%. So why do we always try to do waiting mama bomboy they do. That's where we miss it a lot of times. And I see this not just in politics, but also in business. Your neighbor open pure water. You look and say, Rosemary don't start pure water business. Me too. Make I start pure water business. Whoa, the system that she's using to sell her pure water business, you might not know. And when you open yours, you will feel woefully. But be authentic in your path and in your journey. That way, at the end of the day, there is so much diversity in the female leadership space because everybody is doing something that is unique to them. Authenticity doesn't mean do it solo. No. It means that whatever you are doing, even in your network or your community, is unique to you. So that at the end of the day, there is a robust, what's it called now? There's a robust pool of different ideas, different expressions, different things that we do as women that makes us unique. So try as much as possible to look into yourself and find what makes you authentic. This one is very, very interesting because it's where a lot of women struggle. Taking risk and seizing opportunities. We like to play it safe a lot sometimes as women. And in this sector of politics and governance, you cannot play it safe. You cannot sit back and chill and think that it's just going to come to your lap or to your table. That's not how it works. You have to learn to seize opportunities. You have to learn to take risk. I'm not saying do things that will be detrimental to you. Don't make that mistake. Take calculated risk that when you look at the end of the tunnel of whatever you're doing, the outcome is positive, at least to a large extent to you. So we must learn to break from our comfort zone and our shells and do things that make us stand out. This program was a risk. Miracle will tell you for free. This, all of you sitting here this afternoon, is a risk. But she's done it. And guess what's going to happen after this? People have seen it. She's going to get called and say, wow, this thing you did, let's do it again. And then the support comes from the let's do it again. Why? Because she left her comfort zone. I know she doesn't like speaking in public. No, that's not her. But she's left her comfort zone. She's taken that risk and she's organized this. And the risk that the risk that she's taken is going to birth more opportunities. So as women, I beg you, and I see it a lot because I work with a lot of women. I don't want to do make it not come fail. It's okay to fail. We've grown up with the mindset that failure is such an adverse. No, it's okay to fail. Do it with your full chest. But here's what failure teaches you. You've learned what not to do. So when you're doing it again, there are things that you look and say, okay, I failed, this is what led me to fail in this one, and you will not do it again. Let me give you a personal story. I have worked since I was 18. I've been doing this work since I was 18. And a couple of years ago, I had a personal failure. If you know me, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So my life paused for at least 6 years. At least 6 years. But I woke up one day and I said, Orde, if you continue to sit down in your house under your blanket and not do anything, you will look back and say, what have I done with my life? So I woke up and I left Abuja. I came back to Delta. I took up a job as SSA. I got an appointment as SSA. I came for a speaking engagement, actually. And from that speaking engagement, I got an appointment as SSA. And I stayed back. And today, this is the space of like 4 or 5 years. Today, I'm standing here as an honorable commissioner. But the thing is, I rose up from my failure. I rose up from my failure. I didn't say, oh, because I failed in this aspect and I'm not doing this again, let me just chill. No. I woke up one day and I said, look, you have to get up, dust yourself, start all over again. There's nothing wrong in starting over. Guess what happens when you start over? The experiences from your failure has a way of crunching time. So what you would have done in 10 years, because you have some sort of previous experience, you're able to do in 5. So feel free to allow yourself, make some errors and some mistakes, but don't stay there. Start over and start well. Two more. Balancing personal well-being is important for empowering yourself. And I think Marilyn has spoken on that. But it's very important that women take time for themselves. It's important that you take care of yourself. I have 2 kids. My first daughter is 12. My second is 10. Probably like, I look her in fact, I have to look up to greet her these days. It's quite ridiculous. But regardless of motherhood and all these other things that I do, I find time to take care of myself. Women are dying in silence. I see it. It's not like they tell me. I see it. I experience it. Women are dying in silence. And they are too afraid to do anything about it because they feel like if they remove themselves from their so-called duties, something will spoil. It's not true. If you die today, the children will continue to live. The husband will marry 2 more. The job that you are so afraid of leaving, they would replace you in less than 24 hours. So I beg you as women, because I'm seeing it on a daily basis, women who are dropping dead because they have refused to take care of themselves. So kindly learn to take care of yourself. Because guess what happens when you do that? You come out feeling better. You come out feeling empowered. You come out knowing that, stop flashing at me in my eyes. You come out knowing that you can do better. You can do anything that you want to, as long as your mind is at rest. Finally, mental health is something that we don't talk about a lot. Empowerment starts from the mind. It's not just in your pink and black trouser. It's not in the color of hair that you're wearing. But your mindset is important. If your mind is not aright, no matter what I throw at you, even if I say become governor tomorrow, you won't be able to handle that position because your mind is not proper. So try as much as possible as women to take care of yourself, starting with your mind. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Please give her a big hand. Give her a big hand. All right. So let's move on real quick. We're going to do it back to back. So we may not necessarily need to call you up again, right? So the next speakers, I'll just call all 3 of you. And please, let's maximize the time that we have so we can leave here. So I'll call on the next 3 speakers in a row. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner, for that inspiration. So right now, I'll bring on a speaker that would teach us on breaking barriers, overcoming challenges, and stereotypes in leadership roles. And right after that will be done by Mrs. Adenike Lawal, General Manager, Lagos State Office of Disability Affairs, LASODA. And right after her, I would have Dr. Linus Okorie, founder, GOTNI Center. You'll be speaking to us on elevating women's leadership in politics and governance. And right after him, we would have a conversation on the panel, a collaborative leadership for progress, advancing development through inclusion and access. and it's to be led by Dr. Ogena Walter, Ekobiri, founder, Motivating African Youth Initiative, May I, Ambassador Stefan Abdu, also Pastor Mrs. Chinwe Powell, and Ms. Saint Orife. So please, let us make welcome the very next speaker, who would be teaching us on breaking barriers, overcoming challenges, and stereotypes in leadership roles, Mrs. Adenike Lawal. Please give her a big hand. Can we stand up to just greet her, please? She's an ambassador, I guess. Please give her a big hand.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. The power of her, and I don't forget, the power of her. So imagine coming all the way, and this man says, I have 5 minutes. You lie. My name is Adenike Oyetunde Lawal. I currently serve as the General Manager of the Lagos State Office for Disability Affairs. And like Orode, a few years ago, I was opportune and privileged to be appointed the Senior Special Assistant to the Lagos State Governor then on disability. Sometime last year, I was elevated. And I'll surmise the story by saying, imagine I'm getting a call from the head of service saying, see me by 4 p.m. I show up at his office and he just goes, so how is it? I had just been newly reappointed as SSA, by the way. That happened in November. And under 1 month, I'm getting a call from the head of service and saying, show up at my office. So he says, share with me some of the challenges you've had. And I did. After speaking all the plenty grammar, this man says, well done. The problems are now yours to solve. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not easy. But I chose to come from that way, very intentionally. One, my dress is fine. Two, I wanted you to see me, especially for those who haven't seen me. I'm speaking about stereotypes. I'm speaking as stereotypes, one as a woman, and two as a woman with disability living in Nigeria. I promise you, those two realities are hard. You know why? Everybody thinks they know what a woman can do and what a woman cannot do. Before I go further, Miracle, well done. When I was hugging her, I said anything that has remained undone up until now remains undone. Because a lot of the times we get overworked. The event is going to happen, whether or not something did not show up. And every single speaker before me has said, because she has done it, what it means is that you, the core member who has an idea in your head to improve a local area, to build a borehole, to equip a community primary health care center, you can do it. And these things count for where you are headed in your journey of life. None of these experiences go to waste, except you say they go to waste. Very simple story. I became a lawyer. My father retired from broadcast journalism as the manager news and current affairs of FRCN. I grew up on the grounds of FRCN, and I had no idea that the media love had been sown. After law school, NYSC, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to practice law. I was very clear. So I got an opportunity to hang out with a friend of ours, Shinwolani, on radio. And that was it. My life changed. I was given an opportunity to intern. And I say these things for you to understand that not everything will culminate into money. This generation pay your dues. Pay it. I was sitting beside her and she was talking about how she met Chief Mrs. in 2010 and said I'll jump on public buses and sometimes I'm exhausted, but I continued to give. And she said something. She said, I'm better off. So pay your dues. They gave me a 2-time-a-week slot on radio to intern. And I told them, I don't want to get money. I just want to see what happens on radio. But the second week, I walk up to the program's quality assurance manager of blessed memory now. And I said, can I increase it to 3 times a week? Because every time I do twice a week, by the time I come the next week, I've forgotten. Where I interned, we had Cool FM, Wazobia FM, and Nigeria Info. So they wanted to move me to Cool FM. I had no business knowing that Wizkid had a new song. It didn't concern me. I went to the man and I said, Nigeria Info is my style. I like news. I'm intrigued by certain kind of topics. I love it. And he said, okay, let's stick to Nigeria Info. And like they say, I had no idea that every presenter there had observed my dedication to the craft. And one day, when the presenter was stuck in traffic, the program's manager walks into the studio and says, you need to go on air. I said, to say what? To do what? Of course, I stammered. An opportunity came for them to hire. I had no idea that because I produced the news one time for one of their key newscasters, he sold me out, and I got an offer to be employed. That opportunity has changed my life forever. Because of that radio job, I can stand here and speak articulately, audibly, and you can hear me. There are stereotypes about how women cannot speak for ourselves. When you give us microphones, people will not be saying, use mic, use mic. Public speaking, unfortunately, has died. So people have to learn and hone their craft. So I share this for you to know that. During the NYSC, I didn't want the year to waste. I said, let me do CIPM. I did CIPM. Unbeknownst to me, the lessons I had learned from managing and learning about managing people is what I have now deployed into managing almost 60 people that work with me today. Had I not done that, it's every day I'll be fighting. In fact, if I'm honest, I had to tell my staff, no interpersonal drama in my office. If you cannot learn to manage your issues, do not come. And I stand here to tell you that the limitations and the descriptions that the society and the world give to you either become your reality or you knock them off. I'm doing a damn good job knocking those realities off, I can tell you. Now, what are the stereotypes? Already has spoken. Honorable Marilyn had also mentioned women, family. I don't believe in work-life balance. It doesn't exist. It's an equilibrium. Glass balls, plastic balls. There are some days the plastic balls will have to fall. But there's glass balls that you know will never fall. Again, the average person sees a woman of marriageable age, childbearing age, has a stereotype mentality that if I hire her, when it's time for maternity leave, she'll go 3 months. After now, she'll come back and say 4 months without pay. These are the issues. These are the stereotypes. But then you who decides to go on maternity leave because you earned the maternity leave, and then you resume work, I believe that you will do the other women a huge disservice if you do not give optimally. In the event that you are fortunate enough to request that a person be paired with you on your job, please ask for it. Because what happens is when you feel when you resume your job, right, the next person who will be seeking employment may lose on that opportunity simply because the interviewer probably asked, are you married? And the person says, oh, yes, we just married 5 months ago. What the person is hearing, he goes, get belly, goes, get belly. It's the truth. Let's not talk about maternity leave as a whole, across states and as a nation. And let's also not dwell on paternity leave, because somehow we think that only women birth children. Secondly, the stereotype about your economic power and your strength. Women, get your money. Almost on a monthly basis, I have to intervene with a woman with disability. The one that happened like 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, no, about 6 weeks ago. I think about it and I'm still upset. You come to us and you ask that because we offer different services, because we also work across the ministries, departments, and agencies. And we have a department, an agency in Lagos State government called the Citizens Mediation Center. So they do everything. They resolve marriage issues, landlord, tenant, siblings, all of those things before it gets to court, because again, the courts are crowded. So mediation is an alternate dispute resolution tool. So the woman comes to us with 2 children and says that she wants the agency to intervene so we can help beg her husband. Me, I even thought I wasn't hearing her well. I'm like, oh, by the way, her disability is she is deaf. So long story short, the marriage seems to have collapsed from what we gathered. But of more paramount importance to the woman was that she wanted us to intervene with a man so that he can come back home. Incidentally, the interpreter happens to have been working, fellowshipping with them in church. And somewhere along the lines, I said, I feel strongly in my spirit that this man has checked out of this marriage. And the interpreter said, after everything had gone, the interpreter said, Ma, and there's something you said. I want to tell you that, yes, the man has checked out. I said, so why are we here? So I explained to her what we can do to improve her economic realities. Do you have a skill? Yes, I'm a tailor. How many machines do you have? How long did you pay in your store for? Do you want to get new machines? Do you want us to look for where to send you for training? None of those things concerned her. All she wanted. Now, might I interest you? She has 2 daughters, and the 2 of them came with her. One of them is also deaf, but the younger one is hearing. It did not matter to her that, in fact, I forgot to miss out. What initially brought her on that day was, because they had been to the mediation center before, the agreement was that the man will pay an amount on a monthly basis. But the economy is tough. And since January, he has not been meeting up with that sum, but has been bringing something on a monthly basis. So I then looked at her. How about you augment for that part where he's unable to? It did not concern her. All she wanted was, bring me and this man. I can say it anyway and defend it. I told her, above my pay grade, because I wasn't interested. She has 2 girls. So imagine the impact it will have on her daughters. That all that should concern a woman is not her sanity, her economic strength, but more about a marriage, especially from a man that had stated to church, to CMC, to neighbors, to pastors, that he was done. I can go on and on about why it is important. And the stereotype in that area is many people assume that women cannot marshal out earning powers. But you see women who have scattered it and are doing amazing things. I don't know why Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika's thoughts just crossed my mind. And she says it every time. You people know me, you don't know my husband, but you need to know me, and you know who my husband is. Tara Felaturodwe is also someone that crossed my mind now. These women have their money, and they are opportune to also be with partners who also own. Do you know the power of what it is to tell your husband, babe, happy birthday, here's your birthday gift, travel the world on my bill? Not every time collect. Sometimes you too do the giving. There are women here who are mothers and are the ones holding the family financially. Let us not mess around. There's nothing wrong if you are the one that has a stronger or higher financial strength. What matters most is when a bill is to be paid, it is paid. Who pays it doesn't matter, as long as both parties do what they have the capacity to do. And why I'm emphasizing this is, if we're not careful, we're on the borderline of raising a generation, next generation of women who think that it's actually not okay to marry a man who they have more money than. It's okay. But there are other indices. How hardworking is he? What has God told you about that union? How does it fit into the purpose of God for your life? What are his plans? Is he a lazy person? Does he want to move on to bigger things? Or he just wants to stay there? The stereotype of a woman owning her money we need to break, because there are many women who have owned their money and nothing bad has happened. Right? The other stereotype I want to touch on is with disability. You know, people always talk about inclusion. But when your brother or your child comes back home and tells you they've been gushing about one girl they like in their class, in their place of work, and the person says, you now say, when is this person going to come to the house? The person comes to the house. And then you see that person is blind. The shock that will carry you. Then after the shock, you know, see another person marry. Trust me. I speak to women on almost a daily basis. It is bad. We just do eye service. Women supporting women, but women supporting women except in that area. That you're blind doesn't mean anything changes significant. If you even have a blind family member, I promise you, you forget that they are blind. Do you know that I'm almost 20 years post-amputation? I forget sometimes. My mother forgets. My husband, where's your second shoe? Oh, sorry. My body forgets. I almost tripped last month. I was trying to kill cockroaches with my right leg, almost after 20 years. That's to tell you how powerful the human brain is. There are stereotypes about what persons with disability can and cannot do. And the realities are changing. We must change those realities. You know, sometimes people think disability is only one leg, one hand. They forget intellectual disability. They forget autism. They forget Down syndrome. They forget cerebral palsy. They forget lupus, sickle cell disease, muscular dystrophy. They forget dwarfs. In Lagos, we also recognize persons with albinism. We forget these categories of individuals and we place a stereotype around them, so much so that some comedian thought that the best way to make a skit was to use a child with albinism and a dwarf and captioned it, the two key ingredients for money rituals. Of course, many people were laughing in the comments. Stereotypical perceptions of these two categories of human beings. Accessibility. I will talk about it very soon. Another problem with stereotypes with leadership, again, in my Lagos, is usually we women. I need to go home. I need to go and make food. My children, I need to pick them from school. I have never seen any of my male colleagues do that. Never. Why? They all have wives who they have worked with and partnered with and said, okay, babe, today. But you see what? When they're supposed to show at school for activities, every single one of them show up. So the point really is there's a stereotype about women in leadership. There's a stereotype about women in politics. There's a stereotype about women in the corporate space, about her inability to give her all because she's a mother. It is still women who will tear her down. I saw a woman do a post yesterday. She's a surgeon in the US and puts there, life of a surgeon mom, 7:08 a.m. She was rushing into the theater. I posted this in my Insta story and I clapped. Ladies and gentlemen, when I went back, somebody had dropped a comment and said something in the lines of, what about surgeries? Why is she going to school? What about the surgeries? And the woman responded and said, this is one of the things I hate and love about social media. That a woman cannot have it all in the way she's able to, and is still another woman who tears all the efforts down. We need to stop it. Every single person that has faced one form of discrimination, stigmatization, abuse, if you find out from them, quite a number of these people who dispense it are women. Some of them do not know, because I have engaged some. Some of them do not even understand the gravity of what it is that they say. But some of them, knowing fully well, do it from a place of trauma. Because someone has done it to me, I must do it to you. And it's how many of us went to boarding house. Because someone bullied you, you too, when there's a junior student, you think that it's okay to bully the person. It's not. It's dysfunctional. And we must stop it. The final stereotype I'll talk about is the perception about a woman that has her money. In Lagos, once car jam you and they drive jeep, once you come down, na shawo, na man buy for him. Today, 2024, there are many young girls in their 20s that own properties. I didn't say one property, properties. That have investments and they are legit. No aristo, no sugar daddy. Many of these young girls have carved different sorts of niches for them. Some of them are in different spaces. The lady who came earlier to talk about cybersecurity, I was just looking and saying, I wish people can grab what she's saying. Cybersecurity is a gold mine. There are many of our young girls who have found niches of interior decoration, are teaching different forms of courses online, and when they are sleeping, they are earning $3 here, $4 here. Calculate it. By the time at the end of the week, you have earned $500 by merely just working on a project and putting it out there for the world. Then at the end of the month, you boast and say, oh, this month I made $4,000 as a 24-year-old. But somebody that doesn't see you carrying bag and going to the office every day will say, nah, shawo. We need to correct these stereotypes, especially for women in politics and leadership. Because once you see a woman ascending, it's never far from you to start to hear, she followed her sleep. She slept with the man. She slept with the boss. She slept. When were you there? Did you see them? We need to stop these narratives. It's why when people give it to you as you are giving it to them, you now start, are you not a public figure? Is that how you talk to people? Yes, it's exactly how I gave you back the same way you gave it to me. Not every time turn the other eye. Sometimes look you dead in the eye and say, and so what? You can't beat me. It's the truth. How do we correct some of these challenges? Empathy. I remember when the Chief of Staff was speaking earlier. He talked about empathy. Empathy is simply putting yourself in the shoes of the person. You don't have to have that experience. It's very simple. You have a woman who has an autistic child that you gave employment. Today, she said the child is sick. She can't show up. Tomorrow, you said the child. I know that it tells on your job. But sometimes being empathic also means finding a way to put her child on a form of HMO that relieves her. Because many a times, these mothers of special needs children cannot afford the expert hands that these children need. So, if there's health care, it helps them. Another way, educate the people that work with you on eating real food, not junk. What that does is it reduces the incidences of illness. Sometimes call your security man. This is your picking where they always sick. What do you know they give them chop? You'll find out that many a times these children don't eat real food. And you expect that the child will not fall ill. The human body needs to be nourished the right way. Another one is accessibility, especially for persons with disability. And I don't say this to condemn the organizers of this event. I say it at every opportunity I have. My principal knows. Once he knows I'm coming to an event, he will just hear, please, I hope there's a ramp. There's no ramp. I'm almost done. Don't worry. I'm almost done. There's no ramp here. She's covering her face. Especially because you know a person with disability is coming. I'm not angry. I'm only just telling you that disability is usually a back burner concern for the average person. Until you live with it, until you have a spouse or a child that has it, or somebody in your neighborhood has it. So the next time you go to church, and your church is launching multi-million naira building, Just help me look at the restroom. Can a wheelchair pass the door? Things as simple as that humanize people with disability, but many of us don't consider it. Another one is community. If you have a strong community, when they speak and they have these stereotypes about you, even in your absence, guess what? There's somebody standing up and speaking. Many a times because you yourself have spoken for someone else who wasn't there. Some people say they are not fortunate enough to have the gift of good community. Everybody I've opened my house to and my heart to has broken my heart. If you are a Christian, 70 times 7, 490, and then so what? My hope at the end of this event and this conference, honestly speaking, is that every single one of us understands a few things. One, the only person that limits you is you. Two, with God, every single thing is possible. Number three, invest and create a community and be a community yourself. Number four, you see, one with God. And finally, remember that next time you want to open your mouth to speak ill of another person and form a stereotypical perception that you have no basis for, remember that, as Yoruba people say, when we meet at the feet of Jesus, you will explain why and how. Because I'm a person who believes that God is the one that has placed every single one of us here. And because we are here, everything we do must always give him glory. Thank you very much.
All right.
Hello, my name is Brian Tracy, and I'm a professional speaker and management consultant. And I want to introduce you to my good friend, Linus Okori.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Dr. Linus Okori.
Is there anybody in this room that would like to make a difference? Can I hear you say I? Look at your neighbor and say, do you know who I am? If you know who I am today, you will buy me lunch on Monday. They asked me to speak on elevating the power of the woman in leadership. But when I saw the topic, I framed it immediately. And you know what I did? I said the topic is becoming a 21st century woman leader. So, permit me first of all
to honor the state governor and his team, especially Engineer Miracle, for making sure that this event happened. Let me tell you something, that if you are a woman and you have the capacity to influence, capacity to push your agenda, capacity to know what to do, to bring those who matter to what you do, is a skill. And so, with Ogena and at the back end, with Miracle, working the miracle itself, I am glad that I am able to make it to Delta State. But today, I promise you, by the time I'm done, every woman in this room will no longer be limited to the local system. You will become a global thinker like never before. So follow me on a journey. Who is ready to go with me? Absolutely. So the world today is no longer as far as we think. The world is in our palms. Distance is dead. And because distance is dead, in the 21st century, we are now talking about a concept called globalization. What is globalization? Globalization means that everyone in this room, you are no longer competing amongst yourselves. You are now competing with the very best in the world. If you are a local government chairman or vice chairman, your competition is not in Delta. Your competition is with the local government chairman that is somewhere in Singapore. Does that make sense? So the moment you are invited as a lady, a woman, to go to a women's conference in America or Singapore, and they take this microphone and put in your hand, and they want you to say a few words. If you go there and you do something like this, what have you done? You have exported a local culture to the international realm. Because in the international realm, you have no business with the microphone. Your business is to speak. There's somebody paid to do the job. So you're a local champion. Or they give you the microphone, you come in and say, all protocols duly observed in Singapore. They'll be looking at you like this. Or you say, I am standing on existing protocol. Everybody will be looking at you. Huh? So what does that mean? What it means is that the standard of the woman in this country that I'm talking to is that that woman, despite of all the challenges locally, must stretch to raise her head to global best practices in whatever sector of the economy that you play in. You want to stay relevant, you have been begging, man, give us a place to stand. Who is going to give you a place to stand? This man? This one that I know? You are wasting your time asking and begging them. I have come to say a few things that will enable you become that woman that when you find those things you must do, you will not only get a place to stand, whether they like it or not. I was speaking to a group of people in America, and I was speaking to the Black American community, and somebody stood up and said, they are not giving us a place here. That's reaction. That's not proactive. So I said to them that you can be so great in what you do, become so indispensable in what you do, that they will look like this because they don't like your face, but they will give you the necessary because of how great you are. So my question is, who wants to be great here? Can I see your hand? The first thing that you must understand is that the greatness we're talking about is in these systems I want to share with you quickly. Number one in that system is what I call a learning system. A learning system It's a system that you deliberately impose on yourself as a woman. How is that? I want to be more. I know nothing. I want to be the best in what I do. I know nothing. How does that work? What it means is that every single day, I want to come closer to the women. I love women. What? Every single day, what do? You create a learning system that says, I know nothing. That I don't understand. I want more. What does that mean? There's a body of knowledge in every segment in life. For instance, there's a body of knowledge on how to smile. There's a body of knowledge on how to do what? Smile. I give you an example. I was traveling from America to Dubai. Tired. I was very tired. I walked into a hotel, beautiful hotel, and a lady, beautiful lady, saw me from afar and began to look at me straight. And the next thing, she started smiling. That smiling was so, was so infectious, was so contagious. That smiling was directed at me. I didn't know when I started smiling. And she was walking towards me. And I kept smiling as well. When she got close to me, she was holding something in a cup. And she smiled and gave me what was in a cup. I drank it without asking what was in the cup. Why did that happen? She mastered the act of what? Of smiling. Because you don't know that one of your greatest powers as women is this compassion that is inside you here. Natural. That when the economies of the world notice that there's power of smiling brings businesses, what do? They unleash trained people on how to smile. And the hotels were getting businesses. Now I think of Dubai, I think of that hotel. I'm addicted to that hotel. Why? Somebody smiled. And strength came into my body. I was asking, why did strength come to my body? Smile or the beautiful woman or what was in the cup? I found out that it was majorly the smile. There's a body of knowledge on how to speak with power and influence. There's a body of knowledge. Do you know that somebody handles this microphone as a woman? You get into the boardroom. The men are looking for something. They are looking for confidence. They are looking for, does she know what she's saying? But how would they have confidence in what you are saying? By the confidence you display, even if the knowledge of what you're saying is 40%. Haven't you seen people on television talking confidently, but nothing? And people are shaking their heads. How? Because confidence is a spinner. You must master it. Speaking with power and influence. Because if you handle the microphone and you learn how to speak, you can get everything that you need. Because if you have a business, no capital, and what you have is this mouth. This mouth is designed for selling yourself and what you have to offer. But unfortunately, your gender, some of them, they have now used this mouth to do something that is below you. Gossip. Speak truth to power. So what do? You understand that I must understudy how to speak in this system and get what I want. So how many of you would like to learn how to speak with power and influence? Beautiful. The world has what you need. Everybody somewhere in the world has something that you need. How do you get it? The way and manner you speak about what you got the war can come for it. I was 19 years old when I started the company I run now, called Godney. I had lost my father at age just 3. My mother had 9 of us. 9 of us. 9 of us. There was nobody in this world to take care of me. As a boy, I went to government secondary school, Owerri. And as I went to government secondary school, Owerri, what did I do? I noticed that my school had old boys. Those who have attended the school before. I later became head boy in the school. So I used to design systems on how to network myself to these guys. My big badge in front of my pocket. My loud mouth. And as they come in, I would do my chest like this. I'll walk up to Commissioner for Finance from our school. Hello, sir. My name is Linus Okore. I'm showing you my badge. School captain is doing on it. And I'm connecting. He's inviting me to his house. Because if you close this mouth as a woman, everything closes. Do you understand what I'm talking to you about? So, how do you do this thing? A learning system. Okay, so 4 elements of a learning system. Number 1 is learning by knowledge. By seeking knowledge deliberately. When was the last time you read 52 books in one year? Anybody? Anybody, if you have achieved it, I'm going to sponsor you to attend a leadership conference or program in Lagos. I'll pay 52 books in 1 week. 1 year. 1 year, 52 books. Now let me tell you. Let me tell you something. Can I tell you something? 52 books in 1 year is only 1 book per week. It's only what? 1 book per week. Can you name 10 books you have read, author and name, without looking at your phone? You can't remember all. That's it. What am I saying? Just listen to me. Listen to me. I built myself forward. First thing in life, every woman must know. When you open your mouth in 1 second, the world has defined you. When you open your mouth and speak in 2 minutes, the world has defined you. The boardroom has defined you. Open your mouth in 2 minutes, the world has defined you. Therefore, when you become somebody who reads deliberately, by choice, the world will begin to take note of you. Can anybody try with me in the next 1 year, 52 books? Can I see your hand if that is your goal? You can see that even when you found a solution to become outstanding, you don't want to push. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you say, I want to be, the men are not recognizing us. But if it is romance, there are people who have done 52 books. So, listen. Marilyn, the world as it is today is interested in people who are bringing something to the marketplace. The marketplace does not recognize fine face. The marketplace does not recognize fine face. The marketplace does not recognize designer shoes. The marketplace does not recognize those things you are interested in. Or the marketplace only recognizes value. And that value has to be sustainable. Which means you must have capacity as a woman to reproduce value and reproduce it again and again. Which means what comes out of your mouth must be value. What you write must be value. What you produce must be what? Value. And that value can become a product, can become a service, can become a contribution. So the world will not listen to you because you are demanding for the world to listen to you. The world will listen to you because you have made up your mind to lock up yourself in a learning system and relearn and relearn and relearn and relearn. With nobody to take care of me, I had to learn on how to find my path. What did I do? The Commissioner for Finance in my state then asked me to come to his house in Lagos. I went to his house in Lagos. He had the biggest bookshop library I've ever experienced before. When I got into that library, I shouted. I went and collected my bag from my uncle's place, somewhere. I put it in front of the library. The wife was passing around. Oh, women are powerful. The wife was passing around and said, whose bag is this? They say it's uncle, it's with uncle inside. She collected that bag and put in the guest house. From that day, that became my house. That's how a man I wasn't related to, that's how. Because everybody who comes to him would ask him for money. His nieces will come to ask for what? Money. But every time I come, I'm asking for what? I'm reading with him there. I will be taking one to bed. And by the time I start reading on subject matters across systems, and ladies and gentlemen, today, that my uncle is a faculty in my leadership center in Abuja. Right now, as I'm talking to you, that same boy has set up the most comprehensive leadership center in the whole of this country. That guy has gotten 5 hectares of land to build the first 7-star leadership university in West Africa. That is worth $50 million. Why? Every woman in this room, I'm talking to you. I came down so you can hear me and see me and feel me. A learning system is the way to go. If you can make a choice to read one book, especially in the sector that you are interested in. If you want to build an interior system, now that there's internet, the world, you can spend 3 hours a day on the internet. What are you doing? Seeking for relevance. And by the time you build that for 5 years, in the next 5 years, when you open your mouth, value will flow. That's the first thing. Number 2, learning by observation. Observation. Do you know that you can sit down in a room and you just learn by just observing what goes on in the room? For those of you in the political space, the power to learn by observation is your greatest gift. You can learn from somebody who's not saying anything. You can learn from political actors. You can learn from non-political actors. But learning can tell you what you must do or what you must not do. Just by observation. Learning by asking questions. When was the last time you saw somebody who is in your space and you say, please, can I buy you lunch or dinner? Just to what? Ask questions. These are real facts. So if you understand what I'm talking to you about, you'll go far. A learning system. Number 2, that is relevant in the 21st century that every woman in this room must understand is the power of thinking. What did I call it? Thinking. Thinking versus worry. Are they the same thing? When you are worried about a matter, what happens to you? High blood what? Let me give you an instance. Somebody walks up to you and says, as a woman, I just saw your husband now in a hotel with somebody. I just saw your husband now in a hotel with somebody. man will do what? Immediately, you trigger your worry asset. Why? What's happening to my husband? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And you begin to see things that do not exist. It builds up. That was why somebody, because she was not thinking, she followed her husband in a car in Calabar, and she got in an accident and died. And the next 6 months, what did the husband do? Can't you learn from history that instead of getting worried, for instance, they don't like me in my office. See, they don't like me in my office. How many of you know that can get somebody triggered in worry? I'm not loved in my office. They don't love me in my office. You start getting worried. You start getting worried. You start getting worried. And then you start doing desperate things to get the people to do what? And then you make what? More mistakes. Why don't you have your thinking cap? Take a pen and paper and you're writing. Say, why is it that I am not loved in my office? Number one, according to you, it looks like I talk too much. You write it down. Number two, I put my mouth in what does not concern me. Number three, I gossip on several matters. Number four, I behave like I know everything. Number five, give me reasons. Eh? I'm always coming late. Correct. And number one, lie. What? Eye service. Now, if I know it all, now if you put all of that together, you are thinking. The next thing is that, so if this is the case, how do I stop putting my mouth in what does not? You write it down. If you do this in a day, you have solved your what? Your problem. The next time you have reinvented yourself, and people will start doing what? People will start respecting and liking you. Thinking is important. Number three is envisioning. Tell your neighbor envisioning. Evita Peron said something very powerful. She just simply said, my greatest fear in life is to be forgotten. Evita Peron was the wife of the former president of Argentina in 1948. Evita Peron said, my greatest fear, wrote it as a goal, my greatest fear is to be forgotten. Immediately she made that comment, her vision expanded. She looked into the future. What did she do? She said she helped her husband to be president, number one. Number two, as president, she helped the husband, as first lady, to design pro-poor policies. Policies that benefit the poor. She began to invest in those policies. Can I shock you? By the time she began to invest in those policies, she began to build things that were important to the poor people, healthcare, all manner of things, with an NGO. She helped her husband to win the second term in office. She was so good. They loved her so much in Argentina. But she died at age 33 during the second term of the husband. And when Evita Peron died, the whole country started crying. Don't cry for me, Argentina. They refused for her body to be buried. That woman, the politicians stole her body to Italy for politics' sakes. That woman became so powerful, as I'm talking to you right now. She is dead a long time ago. But in Argentina, she is like a mini god. What does that mean? What it means is that vision has capacity to stretch you. If you don't see what you want to become in the future as a woman, you can't do the necessary sacrifices today. So vision is a driver. I tell you the truth, When there is zero vision, there is zero progress. When vision doesn't drive you, then you will not sometimes pay the price of actually ignoring certain things. Let me give you a clear example. Somebody says you are stupid. You're a woman, no? Somebody says you are stupid. What? And you are in public. You are in public. You are stupid. What is likely going to be your response? Tell me the truth. Somebody says you are stupid. Somebody, just listen to me. Somebody says you are stupid. The major response will be, it is not me that is stupid. Your father, your mother. Is that correct? I mean, listen. The women that will not do that are the women that see vision ahead, the future. So what do? Because you have provoked them, but they know where they're going. They have practiced what we call mind leadership. Mind leadership means the ability to give interpretations to what people say to you. And the ability to give interpretation to what you say to yourself. So you can simply say, oh, I'm sure she woke up from another part of the bed today. That matter is what? Rested. Progress occurs. The people around there respect you. Wow. This lady has avoided what? Husband says, listen, husband says, that's your fellowship that you are going to. I'm going to stop you from going to that fellowship in this house. And what's the response? The response is that I will continue because that's where God will bless us. From that statement, you know there's deficit of emotional intelligence. What do? There's a response you give to that changes everything. You say you want to become the woman that is a high flyer. You say, my husband does not want me to. What do? There are certain things you can do within that house. Those of us, I'm a man, to be very honest with you, men are babies. Babies. If you want to touch us, you can respond to us in a way that is different. And that man will be your best friend. Trust me. So how do you do it? It is the way you respond to things and the initiative you take that is different. The man is afraid that you will overshine him. Is that not correct? But what about if you are invited to a program like this? First thing you say, the man is seated. I want to first of all say a very big thank you to this great man that has supported, whether he's great man at home or not, that has supported me in this my journey. You are speaking by faith if it is not true. The man, his head will do what? Even your boss in the office, you are the one that did the work. But do you know that you can come in and say, sir, I want to thank my boss for such an inspiration. The ideas that we're celebrating today came from who? Came from him, not from you. These are things that you do to protect your future. But what do? What do? The truth of the matter is that the man doesn't want you to rise, right? But there are things you must do to ensure that you rise, whether he likes it or it does not like it. Some men too are he for she. Does that make sense? They are very supportive. How do you do to sustain their support? You can use this thing I also have mentioned to you. But the whole idea is that if you don't have a vision, everything is lost. And the next one is execution. Is what? Is what? So, in the African forest, the lion wakes up in the morning and says, good morning, family members. Say the rate in which the gazelles are running away from us every day. If we do not do anything about it, we will do what? Die of hunger. let's begin to strategize and see how we can kill more gazelles. So they formed a strategy committee and began to strategize. But guess what? In the other part of the forest, the eldest member of the gazelle family wakes up and says, "Good morning, family members." Say the rate in which these wicked animals, lions, are eating us every day. If we do not do anything about it, we will go extinct. They start strategizing on how to escape from the lion. Ladies and gentlemen, all the women in this house, when the next day they go to the field to go about their daily lives, their businesses, who do you think will win the next day? The lion or the gazelle? Who will win? Who? The person with what? The person with the strategy. Number one. Number two, who will win? Somebody says the person that executes. The person who is going to win is the person who has the capacity to change a strategy in the middle of execution. Which means the woman must understand the power of self-reinvention. At every phase of your life, you must become new every morning. You must become what? New every morning. And so it happened to me. I was going to Ibadan. Ask me what I went to do in Ibadan. Ask me what did I go to do in Ibadan. I went to propose to my wife. I had practiced in my personal system how to win over that lady. My mouth as a speaker was running. My ears were hot. I had planned the proposal. And I went into Ibadan for the assignment. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what happened to me? I made my speech. As I made my proposal speech, see the way she responded to me. She said, "You're a very handsome man. You're a very intelligent man. You're a very lovely man. You are all of these. However, I want a tall man." Ladies and gentlemen, am I not tall? So immediately, true life story, he hit me like a thunderbolt, and I had to do something on my feet quickly. Otherwise, I'll lose the opportunity. What did I do? I said, "Who is the closest person to her?" Her father. So I went to her father for 2 hours. I was painting a picture of the future, where I was going to with the daughter. Where the daughter will have to end in the future with me. I painted that picture. I brought my documents of the company I was running at that time. After 2 hours of engagement, the man bought the vision. The man ran into the room. He said, "If you miss this man, you miss something." And immediately, in 30 minutes, I got my answers. It was a yes. Now, many years later, true life story, I asked her, I said, "Do you still want a tall man?" So she said to me that in her strategy, she really wanted a tall man. Now she has found out that spiritually, I am tall inside. Do you see how things work? So, as I begin to come to you today to say to you, execution is everything. What is execution? I say it is what? Done. I say it is what? Done. When was the last time you said you were going to do something? The power of procrastination has killed so many dreams today. Every woman that is listening to me today, one of the reasons why we are stuck from where we are is because we say things, we plan things, and we never get them done. It's the power of what? Execution. Any woman here that will master the act of execution, you will be the most outstanding person in the room. The boss gives you an assignment. What do? execute it to the finish, whether he's a man or he's a woman. Execution. And finally, I want to bring a few things about executive intelligence to you. Executive intelligence. I am interested in a woman that has mastered the act of executive intelligence. What is executive intelligence in the overall plan for you emerging a 21st century woman and leader? There are 3 elements that are involved in executive intelligence. The first element involved in executive intelligence is, number 1, what I simply called the ability to surround yourself as a woman with great minds. One of the greatest things that happen to you as a woman is that sometimes you get tired of this life. True of us. Sometimes situations are tough around you, overwhelming. And when those situations are overwhelming, what you need, sometimes you face challenges in your relationships, in your marriage, in your workplace, severally. But what do you do as a woman? The ability to surround yourself with quality people who are competent enough and have capacity to speak truth to you. Selfless people who are competent around you. Can you do a review of those who can speak to you in time of challenges? What is the quality of their competence? Are they selfless? Do they have capacity? Every political leader, you need that in your space. Those who will come to you and speak truth to you. The other day, I ran for governor of Imo State of Nigeria. I ran at the age of 44, 2019. I came with all my entourage. I wanted to win this election. I was hungry to make a difference. So one day, I went to one market to speak my language, Igbo. I went to make a speech in Igbo. I knew that speech in Igbo didn't go well. I knew. Did you hear me? That because it was elderly women I was speaking to, and I was speaking English Igbo put together. A boy I just recruited in my team, in my inner team, after the session came to me and said, "Sir, you did a fantastic job." So you know what I did to him? I said to him, "Sit down. I'm a secure leader." Are you listening to me? Insecurity is the reason why we accept all manner of people in our spaces who have no capacity. Because what they do is that they come in with psychophancy. They thrive in that. They praise us even when we are wrong. They encourage us. What happens? By the time there's psychophancy in that space, we allow them to make all manner of propositions to us, and we fail. Number two. Number two is what? Those people who bring in our spaces the ability to work with all manner of people. Wicked people, stupid people, fools, unreasonable people. In the political space, you will have all those type of human beings around you. If you don't have the patience and the capacity to work with all these kinds of people, they might drag you down. And finally,